June 24th, 2026. Okay. A lot of things got better. A lot of people scattered. Today, we were in East Sparta at a Dollar General. Some girls walked out and said, "Oh my goodness, we all knew that guy was stealing for some girl, and they were all telling him he was stealing for some girl. Found out it's some prostitute. And the other one, it's her drug debt to drug dealers. Nobody say a word. And we found out the one guy that was having them do stuff to her, he didn't even know what she looked like." Yeah. Okay. Years ago, I have a friend named Grant. He lives out of state. He said he has a friend that is an FBI agent out of state. And he called him. He talked to him. He said he talked to him about what was going on with me. And he said that all informants get paid. And the money is loaded on the card. And you can't steal from an FBI case. And the only way you can steal from it is where that debit card, where that agent said he was loading my money on it, he simply put it in his pocket. And he stole the debit card with my name on it. And somebody in that office is covering up for him and signed that he handed it to her. He's probably been stealing for years, and he finally got caught. And that's the only way you can get money out of an FBI case. Okay? Identity theft. So, we're in 19, the Florida drug cartel was in Louisville. There was 2 heavy-set blonde girls. One was named Michelle, and they'll call the other one Lauren. They announced they were stealing for them. Okay? They announced it all through the case, everywhere. He was stealing for them. One of them lost a lot of weight. By 23 up on Forest Grove Drive in Akron. Down the street, they were telling people that they were stealing for them. Okay? One had lost a lot of weight. October 4th, 23, they pull in next to me in Massillon screaming out how he's stealing for them. Okay? October 6th, 23. Walmart 62 between 7 and 9 in the morning. There's ladies in there that they had talked to people that work the case that girl is some guy that works the case's girlfriend, and he's stealing all the money for her. December 2nd, 22, in Alliance, some guy was keeping an eye on me. He said, "Is that the one that church tried to have killed?" Said, "Yes. I heard she didn't get any money out of this." He said, "No, it's the one guy from the case. He's been stealing every dime from the case for himself since the first day." Okay. All right. Memorial Day weekend 2019. Walmart 62. There's a heavy-set older white lady. And she's in there screaming, "For it's my daughter. Her husband dates. Da, 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 da. And it's for my daughter they did all this for." Okay, later on, she had showed up that they called Will, explained Michelle, and he set her up. They also later on bragged that the guy that did this to me knew that agent and they were friends. Investigators working the case said that agent knew better to touch her case with him being friends with the guy that did it to her. It's a conflict of interest. He knew better than to ever touch her case. Okay? And September 30th, 25, where they kept saying this whole thing was somebody's debt. Okay? And they were in debt. And this poor family that is in debt, we're all stealing for. Here it's my ex-husband's crack-headed girlfriend's drug debt. Okay? Dixie knew Michelle. She showed up January, March of 19 with Judge Peter's group from Florida at Faith Family Church, screaming, "I'm the one that dates Dave. I'm the one that dates her husband." And she was with the Florida drug cartel, bragging they were drug dealers. And the She thought she was above the law and the law couldn't stop her. She could have anybody harmed, drug, beat, and rape. She just had to ask those guys. And the law can't touch her. Hate crackheads. Okay. September 30th, 25, 1 o'clock in the morning. Bikers outside my client's revving his engine, and I hear him screaming at this girl. The guys running it said no one's allowed to say to her anything to her again in her life. They found out this whole thing was your family's debt to drug dealers. Is that what's going on? Yes. Does she even know who you are? No, I don't want her to know who I am. She doesn't even know you, and you had her raped and tortured, her skull bashed in because you were in debt to drug dealers. Yes, I'm sorry. I listened to her and her friend Matt talk January 13th, 23, that the Ohio drug dealers were threatening that agent's life for all those people being human trafficked here. And it was your family allowing them to be human trafficked, yes. And your family even human trafficked people to pay back that debt to those drug dealers. Yes, I'm sorry. She sold children and she's sorry. Found out it was your family inciting her new husband's family to threaten his life to take his farm. Well, yeah, but I really liked it and I wanted it. Like, it makes it okay. Did you know the original cartel in 23 already confessed that they photoshopped everything on her? Yeah, I know that. Do you know they went to her ex-husband and asked him if he knew it was a fraud, medical malpractice, medication errors that made her sick before, and they encouraged them to sue all those doctors for years. He said yes, he knew all that, and he let all those people hurt her. Did you know that? Yes, I knew that. Or did you know that? He said yes. If they confronted her ex-husband that what made her sick before was fraud, medical malpractice, medication errors, and they encouraged them to sue those doctors for years. Yeah, I knew that. And he starts screaming at her. Okay. So if you take January 1926, when the case first started, I had an Instagram account. Some guy named Henry Moffey messaged me, "I think you're beautiful." It's like, thanks. Something about love on a beach and something else. I don't know him from Adam. I go out to stores, people are talking about him, and these people showing up saying they're drug traders, human traffickers from Florida, and they work for Judge Peters, and he's driving around with them. I thought, who is that? I don't know him from Adam. Well, I hadn't heard the people walking around me talk about him in a long time. Thought maybe the feds got him, the cops, or he took off. Carl and I were talking in the car on the way up to Fairlawn. And I said, these people showing up and yelling threats at me, they need to realize I'm an FBI informant. I am in government immunity for life for working this case. You know, and their little drug scam, it's not going to go anywhere. They can kiss the Stark County judge's ass that signed it. They can kiss the FBI's ass, Agent John's ass, and they can kiss my government immunity, government protected informant ass. I'm tired of them. Turn on MC Hammer, you can't touch this, and start dancing around the car with Carl, joking around. We've lived through a lot this last year. And I didn't know he was listening. I didn't even know he was there. I've never met him in person. Like I said, it was those 3 weird messages and then people talking about him around me. I don't know. Here, it makes him so mad. He comes in, Bob Evans, and confesses in Fairlawn. Said, the officers that watch her for the case only watch her because they feel sorry for her dancing around the car like a little kid with her new husband. There's a coroner and they like me. Okay. He said I'm the one that sent those messages online. I thought you looked like the picture of the guy that sent those. But then he said, I proved with those messages she was cheating. That's not cheating. You're a weirdo. He said, I tell all men she's not good enough for another man. And I'm glad I never met her in person. I thought, fuck you. You wouldn't have got a pity date. You're as ugly as a horse's ass. He's skin over bones, scrawny little short drug dealer. Well, almost looks like an AIDS victim. Crackhead. He said, I'm the one that told her new husband's family I could steal everything for them. Found out his son was down there vandalizing stuff on the farm. Told him to stay out of it. I'll steal everything for them. You can't steal from people. It's extortion. He said, I found out the other Michelle's telling on us for what we're actually doing, but they can't use it. He confessed. Where the other Michelle that was dating an agent on a Rouge, March 27th, 25, he had got it out of her that the doctor from before was not one of mine, works for them, and they had lied. He was one of my doctors. She actually don't know who he is, and when they bashed in my head, they tried to kill me or leave me incompetent. Got it out of Dave that a girlfriend from before me made him marry me so he'd get a job at my dad's factory. She'd have free insurance. The woman running up medical bills in my name for 15 years. Half my medical records are hers. Are not random identity theft, but deliberate from my ex-husband. Okay. Yeah, him and another girlfriend scamming me. I had chest pains for days. Whole marriage was a scam. Okay. And he got it out of that family, that agent that was running around telling people, offending him, strange, calling her faker in 03, that they were all lying to the FBI. And they lied to him that it didn't even concern, that offended him, that it didn't even concern them. They were all in there lying, trying to help them get away with this. They were helping them, trying to steal from the FBI. Go in there with their scam, have them open a case, and hand them the money. That was their plan. Okay. So Henry Moffey said that Michelle was telling them what they're actually doing. December, these people threatened to kill her for telling on them. Okay. And when they threatened her, she went badass. Her and her friends telling them all the investigators what they're doing. Okay. I'm so proud of her. I haven't even met her. I've only seen her. Carl seen her have a meltdown over that agent breaking up with her. April 17th, 25. She called the police up there and they told her, how dumb were you telling that guy that the doctor from before was not one of mine, works for them, and they had lied. When they bashed in my head, they tried to kill me or leave me incompetent, and it didn't work. And as soon as she told him, he broke up with her and she really liked him. Screaming at Sheetz parking lot, April 17th, 25. And they threatened to kill her. And she went badass. I'm so proud of her. Okay. So, they give me a headache right between the eyes. Where that December 1st, 25, an investigator came at Michelle, the other Michelle, had showed up in his office, told him that this whole thing was a scam to extort money from the government. Her ex-husband is involved. They all were. Put it that way. And that the doctor from before was not one of hers, works for them, and they had lied. He was one of her doctors. She actually don't know who he is. And that guy Pete running his mouth about her, she don't even know who he is. It's just some guy Dave hired on his own. And these people admitted to using hypnotic drugs on her when they drugged her and told her to say it before. And she has no memory of those people. and the tape of weird with yourself is nothing but photoshopped to washing in the shower, and the whole thing's a scam. So where Henry Buffy said that other Michelle is telling on him for what they're actually doing, thank you for your confession. Dumbass. Oh, the investigator showed up on the 20th at Belden Village dying laughing that he confessed. And he said, I have a judge's friend that'll honor all my tapes in court without the FBI. Well, they're busy with Minnesota. And without her, turn all the case's money over to me. And I'll steal it all for myself and be long gone. I thought of my dead body. I wrote the president. FBI Internal Affairs. I wrote the OPR, Department of Justice. Submitted a tip on the FBI, told the sheriffs, told the prosecutor's office and I sent a picture of you, Henry Buffy, by the way. Even to the White House. There's a real FBI case. See, these idiot people had showed up. Who would believe a person like her? What, a victim? You don't have to believe me. I have legal police surveillance with a court order in a real FBI case. Like a Canton police officer send Miss Hall with all the evidence they got on those people. Any officer gets caught insulting you, they're going to get in a lot of trouble with that open FBI case. And no matter what happens, you stand on that case. And don't you budge off of it. Okay? See, they're trying to get their surveillance thrown up. Because that agent didn't pay me. Well, we're Grant's friend that's an FBI agent. Said the only way you can steal from a case is that agent simply steal the debit card somebody covered up for him. So you got to think where the cartel wanted that agent to show up and explain himself, why those drug dealers got arrested when they showed up to help. They threatened to come after the case, and they were looking for legal loopholes in 19. And this is it, where he told on me for calling the hotline, bullied me on a recorded line, admitting he had everybody in his office, and he doesn't have the authority to ask anybody to stay quiet. And it's a federal crime of blackmail, extortion out of government funds, tampering with a witness, and tampering with evidence. It's a federal crime of 20 to 30 years. Under the eyes and the color of the law, no one can take your rights away. A judge can only place a gag order on you in a sequestered jury or grand jury, and only while the proceeding is going on. FBI agents are only police officers. They're federal police officers, but only police officers. They don't even have the authority to ask it, and then it becomes blackmail. It can't be entered. No judge can sign it, or they would go to jail 10 to 20 years because they can't even take your freedom of speech away except for in sequestered juries or grand juries. And only while the trial's going on. It's a freedom of speech, like it says in the law. No one can take your rights away, your constitutional rights, and FBI cannot do it. So where these people told him last year, now if he stole that debit card for that girl, he put it in his pocket, and she's committing identity fraud by using Karen Hall's debit card. It's that simple. Get the idea? And they know he don't have it. So since they know he don't have it, and either someone needs to check my file where he loaded the money on the card. Every case comes with money. And like Walter said, once it's opened, the government puts it in there every month. So it should have the accumulation of the amount of money from the beginning of the case. If the balance is not the same, or it's not there, he did put it in his pocket. It's that simple. Because I didn't get it. And then they need to find the transactions and catch the person using it. That simple. And see, that's where these people said that they stole my Trakasami money. Where Michael Peterson was bragging he was smuggling oil into the United States. I kept telling him I didn't believe it. Prove it. Gave me a letter of allegation, large money transfers, the airport and time when he was leaving, where he was staying in Venezuela when the shipment was coming back, the port in the state that was buying the smuggled oil. With that much information I got out of him, the lady investigator said they called down and asked about Michael Peterson's shipment. They said it wasn't legit and they look into it. Within 2 years, within their investigation, they got Trek Asami and 50 other people smuggling oil out from underneath their government and selling it. I got a world terrorist arrested. There was a $10 million reward. Now, the FBI knows I got the information. I even sent it into the FBI and the DOJ and the CIA. The government knows I'm the one that submitted the tip. I'm the one that got the information. So where they run a line saying an attorney stole, attorney can't steal it. I'm the one that got the information. So how would they get it? Identity theft. It's that simple. Get it? So where their ultimatum last year, where they wanted that agent to show up and explain himself, and they said, well, you know what? We'll get the case thrown out. That agent told on her for calling the FBI hotline on a recorded line, admitted he had everybody in his office. He bullies her. He makes fun of her. Makes her beg for her life. He lists her informant with money immunity. He left her there and stole her money. He was defrauding her the whole time. He can either pay her the money. Now, if that card's gone, he knows the money's gone. Because he gave it to that prostitute. And they know he can't give it to me. Get the idea? Put him an ultimatum. He can't give it up. He's already stole it for a prostitute. For the Florida Drug Cartel. Heard last year in November, she even had plastic surgery and a nose job on my money. Yeah. So the police and the FBI needs to check my file where it was open. There should be a debit card in there with my name on it. Check the balance. If the balance is right, all someone has to do is hand it to me. I talked to my friend Walter, he used to work at the Stark County Prosecutor's Office. He said the FBI has to move swiftly. Where that guy was down at the Tuscarawas County Courthouse, shorter white guy with black hair, doing the mean stompy dance, and Judge Lori complained about an office being down there, saying that there was no one around her, she's the biggest liar, and trying to get them to get the case thrown out as fraud. Well, in 18... that same guy had walked by me in Walmart, seeing a bunch of crazy crap walk by with a mean stompy dance, white with black hair, shorter guy. And the guy's like, him and his drama, he can deal with his own drama himself. And they were calling him drama. What is his problem? We don't feed into religious heresy. And he stomps off. Well, it took me a long time to realize when that guy walked out of the prosecutor's office, I want her to hate her husband. I want her to have nothing when I get done with her. Judge Lori talking about an office and some weirdo behind a door. I had the right to do those things. No, he didn't. Investigators had showed up and said it was that agent with an opposing attorney. He can't even be seen with an opposing attorney. It's a obstruction of justice and tampering with a witness. It's 20 years being seen with him. And then people showed up and said he took a payoff. See, that's where Walter said from the prosecutor's office, he used to work there, he said they have to move swiftly. They have to tell them to stay out of their case. You're an informant. It's a legitimate case. We found out what that other agent did. Of course, we're going to pay an order today, send an officer over with your card, and then it seals the deal. But if they don't, because of the way he did this, it is fraud. And then the FBI is defrauding you, and it can get thrown out. That, every informant's paid for. He doesn't have the authority. What is a jail sentence for an FBI agent? Telling an informant if they say anything, they won't get their money. Blackmail, extortion out of government funds, a crime against the U.S. government. Blackmail, tampering with witness, obstruction of justice, and under the eyes and the color of the law, no one can take your rights away. They can't take your freedom of speech away. It's 20 to life. What is a jail sentence for a judge signing such a court order? It would be 10 to 20 years, and that judge would be made to pay my money. What is a jail sentence if an FBI agent tells an informant if they say anything they won't have any protection? It's attempted murder, obstruction of justice, aiding and abetting crimes, tampering with a witness. It is 20 to 30 years. You get the money for risking your life only, and you get paid the rest of your life. Like Walter said, they have to pay you. I don't care if they cut me a new debit card. They have to pay me to seal the deal, or thousands of drug cartel dealers, drug cartel, will be released, and they can sue for false arrest under fraud, where they said they were going to. We'll get our drug dealers released. We'll sue for false arrest under fraud. He was defrauding her. They had no right around her. They had no right surveillance her. If they shoot, they weren't paying her. They had no right around her. And he said they can get him released. You know, where they're saying they're going to sue for tens of millions of dollars of false arrest under fraud. Walter said they could. I Google it. They can. Judge Peters and his group were arrested because Michelle was with him in 19 at Faith Family Church, Dave's girlfriend, and they got surveillance on him. There was Kingsmen from Texas. They got a big group of them. They got Buffalo, New York. They got several cartels out of Michigan, California, then drug dealers from North Carolina, South Carolina, human traffickers from Georgia. There was a guy from Pennsylvania and a guy from Tennessee. Thousands went to jail. They saved hundreds off this case. Well, they left me there. I lived in hell and barely stayed alive. If, let's say, the minimum of 2,500 got arrested off this, $10 million each, it is $25 billion. See, that's where the Kingsmen, some girls said the Kingsmen are dying laughing. The FBI would rather let their drug dealers out. Let them sue for tens of millions of dollars each for false arrest under fraud before they'll pay her what little money they owe her. See, that's where someone needs to check my file. That card's not there. The balance isn't right. They got him for theft. And then find out who's been using it, get surveillance of who's been using my card, and then who stole government funds. Find out if they did steal my truck and sell me money, who's in person, because the government knows it's mine. It's Karen Hall. Well, I'm Karen Harkless now. Who got my money and then did an identity theft under my name and stole that money? Because you see, they can't say, oh, an attorney took it. No attorney can just take stuff. That's illegal, and that's a lie. Everything's a lie. And everything's a scam. Well, it's just like Melissa's kids. Their mom, two guys said that they worked for a drug lord. Melissa was helping them get away with this. She was wanting to have the kids lie. No, I'm serious. I told her, say, and they're laughing. They taped Melissa telling the kids to lie, and then on Thanksgiving of 18 that they wanted the house for Auntie Shaw and Papa, and Grandma needed to get out. And then later on to Flora, they were making up 6 games of pretend. That's where Flora told on them a year later, of course it never happened. Of course it wasn't true. We made it up. They were games of pretend. Where the FBI said Melissa's so stupid she made everything up when you were fishing with Dave. She's actually that stupid. She didn't check where you were. Officer Mark, Melissa could go to jail for involving herself in this. I hate to arrest her. Her kids are little. We'll write it up that her and the kids were showing off for Dave and his girlfriend. Okay? Other investigators, they ought to be ashamed of themselves. Karen is risking her life to get information on these people, and they're sitting around laughing, making up stuff behind her back. They ought to be ashamed. Okay? Massillon police told Mount Carmel, Illinois, between May 23rd and June 23rd and July 4th of 21, they're documenting me games of pretend. She never hurt anyone. Stark County Sheriff's in May of 21 were laughing at some guy named Kurt. If Kurt just found out those kids are lying, he's low. In front of my client in October 5th, 21, they had been on 21 talking about her lying everywhere. He's like, who's that crazy Melissa? They all talk about lying everywhere we go. I said, the ex-daughter-in-law, friends with ex's girlfriend, made up some mean games of pretend on Thanksgiving at 18. He's like, is she crazy? It's like, yes. He said, they're still talking about that girl lying. And it's been years. Like January 12th, 22, Officer John stopped man at the door with those kids get tape stating they made everything up. Nobody went to the hospital. There's no police reports. There's no pictures of injuries. There's no treatment for injuries because they were games of pretend. That's all. Where the two drug guys said they were for drug lord got a real problem. Nobody actually got hurt. It's just them saying it. There, yeah. I had Dave verify that I hadn't been around those kids in more than 5 minutes in a whole year and not alone. He even defended me. Karen, you're good to the kids, you're good to the grandkids. You would never hurt anyone. You're good to everyone, no matter who it is. Okay? So, where they run around, oh, Melissa's got an attorney. No, she don't. What was it? May 9th or May 10th? I was in Myers and Alliance. Some investigators said, you know, that so-called attorney for children. The guy said, I looked him up. I checked his credentials. He's no attorney. It's just some guy Dave hired on his own. We think it may be Dave's ex-girlfriend's dad. It's that bad. No attorney would take her. There's no injury. They're mean jokes. Audrey, Carl, my new husband, his daughter, her husband, one of his family members, was accused by somebody in their family. And the stories didn't match up. Well, the investigators got it out of that child. Why would you even say that? Well, I asked for this thing. Asked for some gift. He told me no. I wanted the police to arrest him. Oh my Lord, that kid ought to be in juvie. Trying to get somebody arrested because they wouldn't buy him something? They lied? Well, think about Melissa's kids. Do you know what they told the investigators? The only reason they didn't like me is I told them to take 2 bites out of their food. And they liked Dave's girlfriend better. And that was it. And they were willing to lie on me so she'd get everything. They actually told them. See, they would come in and they would ask, like on the 4th and other times, they would want a piece of chicken, a hot dog, and a hamburger. They're what, 5 to 8? Bunch of sides. Make a big plate of food like for a guy. And then as soon as you sit it down, now you can throw it out. It's like you can take 2 bites out of that. This is why we don't like you. My mother or father, their handprint would have been across my face so fast for sassing my grandma like that. They would, my grandmother would have said, you sit your little butt in that chair till you finish that whole plate, or otherwise it'll be your breakfast. You'll learn not to waste anything and not ask for anything you don't need. They demanded respect out of children and didn't take crap. And now think of that. They're just spoiled brats. Dave and I taped Dave talking about, even on Thanksgiving, well, you need to take 2 bites before you go play. This is why we don't like you. That was the only reason. Investigators have talked about it in Walmart. Those kids were willing to lie on her because she told them to take 2 bites of the food. That's the only reason they didn't like her. None of this is funny. And they liked the girlfriend better. And they were willing to lie. See, Melissa thing was all taken care of in 18. Because they taped her telling her kids to lie. Because drug lord, people have said they work for a drug lord. What? Said she was willing to help him get away with it here. And she was willing to have the kids lie. So they followed him around. Found out what the lie was going to be. And see, I hadn't seen those kids 4 or 5 times in the whole year. And not alone, not more than 5 minutes the whole time. We were busy selling one house, buying another house, trying to fix it up, and these people were keeping me drugged up for months. I usually only seen them on the holidays unless their family needed something, because they both had big careers and their own set of friends. They had their own lives. So she don't have an attorney. Nobody got hurt. They're mean jokes. Documented mean jokes. See, that's where, like a week ago, I was in Magnolia. Some girls in the gas station. We had them look up Melissa. Her and her kids are documenting mean jokes. She can live anywhere she wants. They knew that in 18, honey. This is just Dave's girlfriend that is in debt to drug dealers. Her and her dad scamming everybody. Right before the case started, Nita and Pam at Apostolic Church of Barberton were talking. Mary's niece, Michelle, was willing to kill someone for the opportunity to date Dave. Dave was excited. He never had anybody willing to kill someone just to date him. That poor family that is in debt. Katie, which is Strange's son. Okay, Tim dates Katie on the side from my sister. She won't do anything about it. He's cheated on her for decades with her. Okay. That Katie, her mom's Mary. Anita is her aunt, and Michelle's her cousin, and Henry Maffey's her dad. Get the idea of what's going on? And it's her family's drug debt. And that other girl is a prostitute, and that guy is stealing for her. Get it? And that's where the cartel said in 23. That one guy in the case has a problem with prostitutes. Stealing money for prostitutes. Get the idea of what's going on? Where they said that guy that opened her case, he knew the guy that did it to her. And he knew better than to ever pick up her case with him being friends with that guy. They thought they could just rob the government blind. And that oil guy they were talking about, told you, we were in Bob Evans on Sunday. And some lady acted like she took a picture and said he wanted a picture of me. He didn't even know what I looked like. He didn't even know what I look like. Get the idea how scary this is? People, see, the whole thing of it is, my son John wouldn't have any part of this. Where they said they set up my kids to be arrested. In 18, they said bring in the other John to help get away with this. And walked a guy in Walmart in front of the police and vets. He's about 4 inches taller, full beard like John had. Thought you look like John, but you're a lot taller. Well, last year I was telling Carl about Thanksgiving of 18, about Melissa's kids getting taped in the basement, that they made everything up. And when I went to John, I said, what's going on? He said, I don't know. He said, I told Melissa you're moving out, going through a divorce. She'll have the kids make up something, but don't worry about it. Nobody can say anything bad about you. She'll have her church people say something too, but don't worry about it. Nobody can say anything bad about you. Says it several times. Well, a year later, Melissa pulls a stunt with him. They're already divorced. She had dropped off the kids. Well, he got everybody settled, went to use the bathroom, walks out. She snuck in his house. Screamed, lunging at him. He shoved her, being startled. Now I got you. Laughed. Had him arrested. Domestic violence. That's not domestic violence. That's breaking and entering. Ohio has a stand your ground law. She had no right in his home. He lost his kids, and a year later asked me to be a reliable name on a court record to watch his kids. And I said, John, I work 2 jobs. I don't get off the first one, let alone the second one. He said, But Mom, if you don't help me, these are my kids. I'll lose them forever. I said, John, I'll lose my apartment. I don't get off the first job, let alone the second one, and I barely make it now. He's like, Mom, if you don't help me, I'll lose my kids forever. I need you to be that reliable name to pick up my kids from school. I said, John, I work 2 jobs. I don't get off the first job, let alone the second one. I'm sorry, honey, I can't help you. He lost his kids, moved to Florida, met this other woman, married her. They started a church, and they had a baby. He looks happier than ever. He had to get away from the call. Okay? He's been in Florida for years. Last year, June 13th, 14th of 25, we pull in Katanas. I just get done telling Carl about this. People pull in and said, if John's in Florida, who's asking people to kill her? So they said some guy was John asking people to kill her. They're setting him up for premeditated murder to go to jail for this. Well, May 24th, 26th, Myers, North Main, and North Canton. They still have a video of it. We pull in, and there is a guy that looks like the pretend John, but he's shaven now. I said, Carl, that looks like that guy I told you that was a pretend John. He said, he does look like your son, but he's taller, or he said, he does look like your son, that picture you showed me. And he was with a white girl with black hair. Well, there's a guy off in the distance, and he said, can you imagine? The original police were here years ago telling everybody not to say a word to her, that it's ridiculous for anybody to insult her. She almost died to save children. And they always knew she was drugged and told to say it before. And the tape of Weird With Yourself was nothing but photoshopped a washing in the shower. The whole thing was a scam. And it's ridiculous for anybody to insult her. She almost died to save children. Well, we walk in. They're ahead of me, then me and Carl, then the guy that's saying it behind us. Okay. We're looking at the fruits and veggies. He walks up to me. I look over at him. He said, how did it go years ago? He went, I thought, oh, that's what that other guy did. It is you. And that white girl with the black hair picks up her phone and says, how stupid were they? Bringing a pretend John in to verify everything. They knew this whole thing was a scam on her. Oh, they were making fun of her because Agent John stole her money? See, that's the loophole. And that's why they're laughing. They haven't paid me. And if they don't pay me, the FBI was defrauding me. And all those drug dealers walk. I wrote the president. I wrote the OPR. In the Department of Justice. All someone has to do is pay me and stand up for the case. And it seals it. Otherwise, they walk and it's going to cost the government like $25 billion in settlements with those drug dealers. They're not actually after me. They're trying to get the case thrown out. And they're just trying to steal from everything. June 3rd of 2023. June 3rd of 2023. I pull in. Now, my son, extremely smart. He was an electrician. He also was a union rep for the local union for the electrician. He had several offices. So he has ties into all the electrical companies. He also traveled for the union. Then he was a college professor for the local vocational college to teach how to be an electrician. He also was a manager at several places. Two or three electrical companies pulled in and said, hey, isn't that John's mom? He said she never hurt anybody. And because of these people, he may never see his mom again. And it's just because of these people. And he said she'd never hurt anyone. And that's his mom. I know. And they're like, and he may never see her again because of these people. And she's never hurt anyone. He wasn't going to go along with Dave's crack-headed 18-year-old girlfriend in debt to drug dealers, having me harmed by other drug dealers. He wasn't part of it. Just like Danny and Jen didn't know about the shower scene. They didn't know about button cameras. They didn't know about no tape of Weird With Yourself. They tried to frame them, and they won't have anything to do with it. None of my kids were involved. And where May 30th, 25 at 1 o'clock in the morning, the Louisville police were outside with one of the ladies from the extortion group, how she thought she could trick me out a bunch of money and then found out I knew the surveillance laws. And she couldn't trick me out of a bunch of money. And she was tricking Dixie and Melissa to put their name on it so they get arrested. And she won't be around to find a law to protect them. Well, I turned her in. Entrapment alone is a federal crime. They found the surveillance on May 26, 25 of the cartel, admitting this whole thing is a scam from Bill from the Freemasons, of the dirty doctor not being one of hers works for them. And they had lied he was one of her doctors. And the whole thing is a scam. And they found the original case. My ex-husband hired 2 men on his own. One was saying he was an attorney, so it made it legal. No, it didn't. It made it worse illegal. What is a jail sentence for an attorney hired by a husband to set up button cameras stalking his wife in a private home without her knowledge or consent? 5 to 20 years disbarment. What is a jail sentence for an attorney hired by a husband to set up button cameras in a private home, stalking his wife without her knowledge or consent, taping in bathrooms, photoshopping, washing, having men drug her for fake confessions, beat and rape her under drugs, life imprisonment? I've never even met these people. I don't even know who they are. June 10th, 26, and Bob Evans in Alliance by the window. 4 people come in. I was waiting for him to say something. Said, these people admitted they drugged her when they talked to her. They thought and we said something where she uploaded that it's pharmaceutical torture. They laughed. They said, well, they had drugged her and told her to say it before. And they thought if they did that and taped it, they could enter it in court without her. She wouldn't know who stole all her money and be long gone. It don't work that way. See, where did I meet these people? I didn't. Where did I talk to them? I didn't. Do I know who these people are? No. Predators breaking in people's homes, drugging them up for fake confessions, beating them, raping them under drugs. They come out of it, never seen, never talked to somebody, and these people admit they hide behind doors, reach out and jab somebody real quick with an injection. You look back and think you got bit or stung by something. They've already ducked back. Go out and take a drink in the room, goes dizzy and black, come out of it with bruises, throwing up, infected, and blaming the orange well water you're showering in, thinking it's giving you cancer, trying to make sense why you're dizzy and throwing up, and here you're being drugged up by rapists, running a con on you, drugging you up and telling you to say stuff, photoshopping, showering in the rapist tapes, drugged up and told to say stuff, and they think they can get money out of the victim that they're scamming. They don't ever get a dime. You get life imprisonment for that shit. These people are so dumb. HIPAA violations. It is illegal for a doctor to tape you unaware because of HIPAA. It's a right to privacy over your medical. It's a 10-year sentence. It's illegal for a doctor to examine you without your signed consent, and that you hire them. Okay? The only time that's allowance is like an emergency room if you're brought in under emergency condition. Okay? It is illegal for a doctor to talk about you without your signed consent and picture ID on both sides. Okay? And they verbally talk to you. They cannot talk to anybody. I was at my community health over a year ago. A doctor said, I want to read the notes. Some office said that they had a psychiatrist evaluate her on their own. And no one is allowed to say a word because it was just some office doing it. Okay. What is wrong with this? I don't know what office. Never met the psychiatrist. They wrote up fraud on somebody they never even met, never signed consent for treatment, never was treated, don't even know who they are, and then sending out fraud to other doctors. How dumb are they? 40, 50 years. They get the name of them. I've never met them. I never talked to them, never signed consent for treatment, never even talked to them. No, don't even know who they are. They just were hired to write up fraud on someone. How dumb are you? And then sending out fraud letters. Get the idea. They can't even send stuff to other doctors without your signed consent and picture ID on both sides. It's a 10-year sentence. Can't evaluate somebody you've never met in person. You can't evaluate somebody you've never talked to. Didn't sign for treatment, never was treated, and don't even know who you are. You're just writing up fraud on them. It's that bad. But the FBI needs to do, and the police need to be doing some research. Is that card in my file? check the balance of what it should be. It's not there. The balance isn't right. And then who took my $10 million? And it has to be to Karen Hall. That's my maiden name. Because why? I'm the one that submitted the tip. I'm the one that got the information. I'm the reason they called down there. So they all know it belongs to me. And who's got my debit card impersonating Karen Hall and committing identity theft? Good question, huh? And who is committing identity theft? Because that's the only way they could get my money. I'm going to upload this.